Hi there, and welcome to my Soul Authority channel. I'm the Reinvent Tool, transformational life coach, holistic psychologist, and meditation guide. I'm staking out the safe spiritual space in solidarity so we can hear our authentic voice over all the noise and realign ourselves with clear choice. This is at the heart of Soul Authority. If you felt burned out and low, join us in rekindling our inner fires and getting back in the flow. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. Today we're gonna be unpacking and really sitting with the idea of practicing a beginner's mind. And I'm not sure who coined this, but I believe it is language or a term that's often used in meditation, but also when learning something new. And it basically means don't bring any preconceived ideas, expectations, or maybe stories about yourself to the table. Just be curious, have a blank slate, so to speak. I should say that a lot of people, interestingly enough, when they learn something new, they're fresh to it. The whole idea of beginner's mind, meaning no judgment, being curious, just open to learning, is seems to be rarer nowadays than not. A lot of people actually bring a lot of anxiety to the table when they're not well versed and having to learn something new. So that's interesting in and of itself, that the whole term beginner's mind might not even have the same effect that we wanted to. But anyway, that is the goal today. I really want to um, see if we can honor the spirit, the true intent of that phrase. And we're going to look at what might get in the way of that. And first thing I think is to think of or try doing that in meditation. And then eventually, hopefully, as we shift the blueprint, realign things, you're going to see that show up more in your everyday life and your day-to-day moments in life where you're trying to be more present. So just recently, I've been saying this a lot, came out kind of as a joke, but then I started to reflect more on this. And it's just the idea that I think about myself and I think about all of us as being just a bag of bones, beliefs, old or bad, quote unquote, bad habits and new beginnings. That's just an alliteration on all the B's. Um, so what I want to say with that is bag of bones is embodied, right? Like operating from this animal body, trying to survive, do all the things. So that clearly has a lot of influence. But I say beliefs instead of thoughts and emotions because I really think that beliefs are underneath, like they're foundational, they're level below even thoughts and emotions. And I even have started to think more about the way we have like knee jerk thoughts and then emotions and then actions as all being habits and things we're conditioned to do, things we've adopted, things we role modeled, things that are completely in our blind spot, and things that we're not even choosing to do, repeat, or agree to continue. And that all stand in the way of the new beginnings. You can't choose a new thing, or often we try to choose a new thing, but we don't know or we don't realize that we're also choosing something that undermines this new thing. And so we really have a hard time changing our behaviors. So this whole idea, bag of bones and beliefs, bad habits and new beginnings, is kind of how I imagine, I guess, myself in the morning, choosing, reinventing, choosing myself all over again, and giving myself the freedom to just take this bag and just shake it out, and literally like picking up the bones, picking up the beliefs, picking up the habits, picking up or creating new beginnings every morning. And I mean, gonna invite you to do that. This thinking, this habit, I guess, that I've developed or am developing, I now see that as very congruent to this practice of new beginnings. So, to go a little bit deeper with that, we're going to do this in a meditation, but I just wanted to highlight what I've been working on seeing, and I've been seeing and hearing a lot in my practice, which is the belief. It seems to be some default belief. We're not born with it, but it seems like the way we do modern society, the way we're schooled, the way society, the matrix, I guess, is structured and runs a lot of us without even realizing it end up with a belief that we're not good enough. So it could be this capitalistic, production oriented, meritocracy kind of thing. Unless you produce, unless you, even as a kindergartner or first grader, start making the grades and have something to show for, you're not good enough as you are. So even that little sort of engine, merit based, result oriented way of being. And of course, just watching parents needing to do things to earn money, to feel good about ourselves, and all that. Just that little thing, I think, gets us off center of base already, and makes it very uncomfortable. Just be still, just to be like your dog is, like a tree is, like, you know, I guess a toddler, a baby would be just oriented towards what their body is saying they need, and being okay with growing, trusting their growth. At first, it's all physical, maybe a little bit of mental, cognitive, but trusting that process to continue on throughout adulthood, where we're going to then develop our interests and skills even more, start mastering it. There's something that gets in the way of that. And that is the not good enough sort of belief. And then what results from that is very interesting. Is this whole habit or way of thinking, well, let's ignore the fact that I'm now tired or don't feel like doing this or want to do something else, or excuse me, ah, getting a little Ricola. As my throat's a little scratchy. So not getting the belief or the thought in the way of that and saying, oh, I can't do this because I'm recording this and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, that is what we do. We don't pay attention to what we need and we power through because it's just intolerant to us to trust that or think that is going to be good enough. And we're so conditioned then to believe that the rewards, the results that we get, the approval, um, is gonna secure our survival, even though it's not physically at all related anymore. It's just social. As we grow older, right, from toddlerhood to now, becoming part of a system, of a group, our focus shifts, and we are now overriding our physical needs with the social demands, social needs. And that is a habit. We don't even sort of think of it as a habit because we do it so knee jerk, so constantly. And we follow what everybody's doing. And so we might feel antsy, even though an activity might stress us, for example, we're powering through. We might feel even antsier not doing anything. But that is not our true nature, like feeling, because your parasympathetic nervous system, which is, what we want to get to in the meditation, and what gets kind of messed with is the thought, the knee jerk thought that this can't be right. We're in danger because we're not producing anything. So you're antsy now when you're meditating or thinking something needs to be done, the to-do list, you're doing yoga, whatever you're doing, what you got to, buy or shop for or blah, blah, blah. And it feels unsafe to relax in the doing nothing, even though that is what your body's craving and what you're capable of. But then the habit, the bad habit, and the bad feeling of stress and to-dos are now sitting on top of that, and you're not able to activate what is deeper underneath that. So beginner's mind, in my book, like I said, we're tossing all of that out. We're looking at it. We're dumping what's in the bag, and we're really seeing that as a habit, a bad habit that comes also from a outdated, hopefully, belief that you're not good enough as is, where we're now picking up the new beginning, or it's actually really an older belief that you're good enough as you are. We're reinstating that. It's, I guess, new maybe for some in adulthood to put that front and center again, but we're picking up that new belief or older belief that we are good enough as we are, and we want to experience what that feels like and develop a new beginning or new habit or old habit, but now nourish that habit more, bring it back front and center, so that when we do that, the older habit of feeling anxious or we're doing something wrong can be tossed, and maybe we replace it with this habit of needing to be grounded first, and maybe even developing a habit of and a belief that it's possible to stay grounded and feel good and centered even when you're producing. It doesn't have to be an either or, like we kind of were conditioned to think that as soon as you're now trying to be productive or do something or feel valuable, worthwhile, you must be stressed. You can't be feeling good and grounded, right? That is also a belief or a habit that formed. So that's what we're going to do, get back to basics, back to our newborn self mind, as much as possible, and then try it on. Pick these habits and beliefs that we want, and I call it habits or bad habits because we can intentionally pick the new belief, intentionally try to create the new beginnings, but our bones or the old habits, it might take a while. We have muscle memory, we have, things that we have a disposition for. So hopefully part of the new habit, the new beginning is also being patient, being compassionate with ourselves if it doesn't right away change, but every day, sort of look at what got in the way, what made it hard, what interfered as a habit. Maybe it was distraction or whatever the thing might be. Maybe a tiny addiction to the dopamine hit or whatever thing you get from accomplishing something. So we have to sort of play around with that and get our parasympathetic nervous system to give us some oxytocin or other things that feel stronger, better, deeper, more sustained. And then we'll be able to discard the old habits. So join me. We're going to go deep into this, but hopefully this heady overview made sense. Thank you for joining me today in staking out spiritual space in solidarity and in community. Please share this video and the Zoom link below with anyone who would love some support in hearing their authentic voice over all the noise, and realign with clear choice. I offer me time through meditation virtual meetings every second and fourth Monday of the month from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. PST. If you would like deeper and more personalized guidance, how to heal, love, lead with soul authority, please visit me at soulauthoritycoaching.com or thesacredhealingwell.com for more information.